Yes, yes, yes. So, Monster Hunter Rise is coming to GeForce Now. There's 10 other games coming along. There's a new Super Pod now, the RTX 4080 Super Pod upgraded in Amsterdam and on the East Coast of America. Plus, looks like there's a free weekend of a much sort of critically acclaimed game on GeForce Now this weekend. This and so much more in the GeForce Now Thursday Chat podcast. Roll the titles. I was about to hit the button on my Stream Deck, but it's bricked itself, so I'm going to have to do it manually. Okay, click the titles. Yokoso, yokoso, yokoso. Aragata gozaimasu. I hope you are good. I hope you are well. This Thursday, of course, it is GeForce Now Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. So we have all the news, we have more games, and all of that, plus some further expansion or rollout, as I said, of the Super Pods, the 4080 Super Pods, and all of that. So let me know as ever what you've been playing. Put it in the chat. I always appreciate it and all of that. So put that down in the chat. Let me know what you've been playing, what you've been up to this week. If you've seen the news, we'll come to the news and you can let me know whether the games excite you or not, as the case may be. I think that's a sort of an ongoing thing really with the games. There's usually something in there to sort of hopefully please everyone, but are we getting a lot of the same games? You'll see in the news report, there does seem sort of a bit familiar game. Maybe that's just the nature of, PC games. Not everything's a sort of a AAA banger or a first-person shooter, Clive. There are other types of games. Well, yeah, it seems a lot of simulation games that we'll come to. And all of that, as ever, say hi to a few things. Yeah, stop the press. I got it. Don't you worry. We got the breaking news. I've made a note of it. Just checking you haven't seen anything else. I've made a note of it, ladies and gentlemen. The breaking news. We'll come to that. I'm surprised I didn't see that on my Twitter or something like that. So, but thank you, Internet of Games, for keeping me, as ever, up to date on breaking news when I'm trying to do stuff, broadcast, stream, read the news as it comes in, and all of that. So much, much appreciated. Right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I think it's time for Clive in the GeForce Now News studio. So, Clive, are you ready? You sure? I was about to press the button again. I've got to do it manually. Oh, click it. I've had a terrible IT week this week. I tell you, I had the telecoms man in the house today. He said to me, he said, do you know how many devices you've got, Wi-Fi devices in the house? It's funny because I rang up my telecoms company early in the week because I had problems with my Wi-Fi. Broadband, perfect, just the Wi-Fi. And they said, estimate how many devices you've got. And my son and I did a quick sort of count in our head. I don't know, about 20 Wi-Fi devices in the house. BT engineer man came round and he called up the kind of analytics and he goes, there are 30 just on one channel. Like my 2.4 gigahertz channel. And then there's another nearly 30 on your 5 gigahertz channel. Didn't realize how many devices I have in the house. Not all of them are functioning, but anyway. So I've had that problem. I lost all my Stream Deck settings. I don't know I'm telling this. I just want to share it with you. I lost all my Stream Deck settings, so I had to rebuild all my buttons. Nightmare. Little tip. Don't run a Minecraft server in your own house. Okay? And on that, we're going to go... no, I'm going to press it then again. On that, we're going to go to the news roundup, ladies and gentlemen. Clive, sorry I was waffling. You were all ready to go, weren't you? Yeah, sorry. It's over to Clive in the news studio roundup. It's a monster week for GeForce Now in terms of games this week, with over 10 games coming to GeForce Now, including a Capcom classic. So, without further ado, let's check out the games coming to GeForce Now this week. The hugely popular Monster Hunter Rise from Capcom is arriving on GeForce Now shortly, including the expansion Sunbreak. You'll be able to take your Palicos, Palamutes and monster hunting gear to the cloud and stream across nearly all your devices, whether solo or multiplayer. Ultimate members can take in the beautiful world of Monster Hunter Rise at up to 4K at 120 frames per second and experience ultra-wide support for the most epic monstrous battles in ultra-wide resolutions and 120 frames per second. Magnamalo, here we come! And with free updates, there is plenty to explore, including the latest update that brings the return of the Elder Dragon Velkhana. For those unfamiliar with Monster Hunter Rise is basically the latest installment in the award-winning and top-selling Monster Hunter series. And you'll become a hunter, explore brand new maps, and use a variety of weapons to take down fearsome monsters as part of this all-new storyline. And joining Monster Hunter Rise this week is a plethora of games, from simulations to RPGs. From the creators of Labyrinth of Refrain, Coven of Dusk, comes a new chapter in the dungeon exploring adventure filled with charm and mystery. Labyrinth of Galleria, the Moon Society. It's a dungeon crawling RPG developed by Nippon Ichi Software. Players navigate through a labyrinth filled with monsters and traps and must recruit and train characters to help them survive. The game features branching story paths and multiple endings. Labyrinth of Galleria, the Moon Society, offers dungeon crawling adventures with new quality of life improvements and 50 hours of exploration alongside a cast of fully customizable companions to do your bidding. Use a variety of packs and puppet soldiers to customize a team of up to 40 fighters to dive into the darkness and discover the secrets within the Labyrinth of Galleria, if you dare. A brand new release now, and Wanted Dead is a first-person shooter developed by Game Operators. Take on the role of a bounty hunter tasked with capturing dangerous outlaws and use a variety of weapons and gadgets to do so. Wanted Dead is a new hybrid slasher/shooter from the makers of Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. The game follows a week in the life of the Zombie Unit, an elite Hong Kong police squad on a mission to uncover a major corporate conspiracy. Elder is a fantasy-themed RPG. In it, you explore a dangerous world and fight deadly creatures for untold treasure in this Lovecraftian-inspired action RPG game. Uncover the dark and ancient mysteries of a haunting land, as I said, with RPG elements and skill-based combat to slay adversaries, find hidden passages, and collect bountiful loot. Players can choose from a variety of character classes and explore a vast world filled with dungeons and monsters, while of course leveling up their character and unlocking those all-important new abilities. We head to the Wild West now with Wild West Dynasty, a simulation game developed by Moon Punch Studio. And no, it's not a Red Dead alternative. This is a city building game. Players take on the role of a rancher in the Wild West, building up their ranch and managing resources to grow their wealth and expand their influence. The player can build and grow and manage a town around it in an effort to become the most powerful man or woman in the West. And on that city building theme, we move to The Settlers: New Allies, which was developed by Ubisoft Dusseldorf. It's a reboot of the Settlers series. Players, again, build and manage a settlement in a medieval world this time and must balance resources and manage their population to thrive and expand. The game features 3 different factions, including the Ilari, the Maru, and the Yorn. Like previous games in the series, the player starts with a skeleton crew, and the player must grow their settlements by collecting resources, building farms for food, and constructing military structures for both offense and defense. The game features a campaign mode and a skirmish mode, which allows both 1v1 or 2v2 multiplayer. And the game was developed using the Ubisoft Snowdrop engine, so you know it's gonna look fabulous when you play it on GeForce Now, especially in Ultimate Tier. Across the Obelisk is a co-op deck-building RPG roguelite. That's a lot to say. Developed by Dreamsight Games. Players assemble a party of heroes and explore a world filled with danger and mystery. Of course they do, while building their decks with new cards and abilities. Now you can play solo or with your friends. Choose your heroes, unlock items and cards and craft your deck and face powerful enemies in deep tactical combat. Would you dare to go across the Obelisk? More simulation game fans. I hope you're a fan of simulation game. They do seem popular on Steam and especially on GeForce Now, I find. Captain of Industry is a business simulation game. In this one, you land your crew of survivors on an abandoned island and survive. You mine raw materials, grow food, build factories, manufacture products, research new tech, and trade with others. Become an industrial superpower. But this is no easy task. You will be put to the test to keep your settlement alive. Players start a business from scratch and must manage resources and outmaneuver their competition to become the ultimate tycoon. Talking of tycoons, how about becoming a tycoon on the other side of the tracks, as it were? Cartel Tycoon is a strategy game developed by Moon Moose. Cartel Tycoon is a survival business sim inspired by the 80s and 90s narco trade. Roll up your sleeves in a kind of Miami Vice style, expand and conquer, fight off rival thugs and evade the authorities. Earn people's loyalty and strive to overcome the doomed fate of a power-hungry drug lord. Players take on the role of a drug lord, managing operations, expanding their cartel, while avoiding law enforcement and, of course, rival gangs. And if you want realistic simulation, then how about SimRail, the railway simulator? It does exactly what it says on the can. Yeah, this is a new advanced railway simulation game. Unsurprisingly, players design and operate their own railway system, managing everything from train schedules to infrastructure to maximize efficiency. You master high-speed, long-distance EMU, heavy freight hauls, and suburban trains. Travel 500 kilometers of geodetic data-based real routes. Become a train dispatcher and control the traffic according to the schedule, or cooperate with other players in multiplayer mode. One for the real train nerds, aficionados out there. And finally, War Pips is a real-time strategy game developed by Skirmish Mode Games. This is getting a 9 out of 10 on Steam, so it might be worth one to check out, even if you've not heard of it. Players build up their army and battle against enemy forces in a fast-paced strategic combat style. The ultimate quick-to-learn but amazingly deep tug-of-war strategy game. Deploy the right composition of soldiers, tanks, helicopters and planes in this tight, streamlined, strategy-focused war game. Compose the best army, research the right tech, and overwhelm your enemy. So there you go. That's a roundup of the games coming to GeForce Now this week. Is there anything there that interests you, spikes your interest, or is it meh? Anyway, as we head back to the studio, let Clive know live in the chat. Clive, it's back to you. Thanks, Clive. Well, as Clive said, yeah, there you go. There's your sort of your games. You've got obviously the big game of the week. Obviously, not arriving this week. It's just an announcement. It's coming soon. Well, it might arrive this week. I don't know, but there's not a date on it yet. It's being announced. Monster Hunter Rise and the Sunbreak expansion is coming to GeForce Now, and of course, you're gonna be able to play at 4K, 120 frames per second. And in ultra wide, they've got an ultra wide mode as well. So if you on the ultimate tier, you can indulge and enjoy that, which would be quite exciting. It's quite interesting because I think it's a good game for GeForce Now to get, and it's good to see. And it's interesting that they're getting it quite soon after, of course, it was part of Xbox Game Pass. So it's interesting, Capcom, expanding where the game is available, which is good. Surely it makes sense for you not to do too many exclusives. Get your game out there. Obviously, it was a big Nintendo Switch game back in the day, but now they're obviously keen to get it out on as many platforms as possible. So, yeah, it's great to see. And I'm just looking at the chat there. Part of me wants to play this train sim in Japan. But it used to be years ago. It probably still is. I don't know. But in Japan, train sims were massive. I'm sure they probably still are. But yeah. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago when I was talking to somebody about them. And they were saying, yeah, in Japan, train simulations are massive. Getting, driving your train, obviously. Making it arrive at the station on time, all of that, stopping at the right point, absolutely massive. There's a massive market for it. It's sort of secret underground market for it. It's probably bigger than you think. There you go. Com says, I bought Monster Hunter and Simrail. There you go. See? Fans, your train spotters there. It probably quite relaxing in parts. There's something to be said for those sort of things. And of course, the other big thing is, I'm just looking here, is the Settlers' new ally from Ubisoft Dusseldorf, which I know is a kind of a popular one. I'm just checking it here. Yeah, kicking off the weekend with 10 new titles. Why don't we just go to the news studio before that? Can you hunt humans in Monster Hunter? Yeah, be good if you become the monster and hunt, become a dragon and hunt humans. Network thinking, the new mind of man. I can't press the buttons. I need to go to the studio. Yeah. So, but there are a lot of what I would call PC games. Nothing against it, just not necessarily my cup of tea. And maybe I need to expand and broaden my horizon. Although there are a few sort of, having said that, a few Switch type games. Games that have done quite well on Switch. Labyrinth of Galleria. I think that has a history. It's Japanese. But then you've got, next you've got Captain of Industry. And then, where it's a sort of a sim game where you build up from the ground up and build your industry and become, a captain of industry, a tycoon. Or you've also got Cartel Tycoon, which Clive said in the news studio is basically the other side of the tracks. You build up, you start with nothing and you build up your drugs empire. So yeah, Wanted, New Dead looks quite good actually. I think that game passed me by. Because actually, we don't want to see your giving nonsense there. Right. Yeah, it's got a real kind of nice, interesting look to this game overall. So I wonder what it plays like. Just so I'm looking at its sort of game style. See if we get any sort of... It's got that kind of nice, good character design that you get in sort of almost sort of Japanese style games. It's got a good pedigree, of course. Ninja Gaiden. Is it third person? Yeah. Some nice moves in there. So that piqued my... Oh, now I didn't stop it there and put... That's just... Look away. Look away. Yes, thank you. Draw the curtain. She's having a shower. Oof. Oof. Sexy lady in the bath. Oof. Right. So yeah, that game piqued my fancy, but the simulation games are kind of less my cup of tea, but each to their own. And I am looking to get out of my comfort zone. I shall be playing Baldur's Gate 3, which to my horror is showing how little I know about this game. Yeah. I watched SPG play it yesterday, a bit of a tutorial, get some hints and stuff. I assume that you could actually play with a controller, right? My horror when I realised it's keyboard only for valid reasons. So I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, and over on the Lord Kensal channel, I shall be streaming Baldur's Gate 3 from the perspective of a complete noob. I mean, I don't mind turn-based games. I was a massive fan of Paper Mario, which is a great example, and I've played other turn-based games. But it's the whole D&G kind of background story and understanding and stuff maybe feel a bit kind of overwhelming. But I am prepared to give it a go. GeForce Now kindly sent me a code to give it a go. So I'm going to do that over on the Lord Kensal channel. If you want to see a complete noob out of his depth in Baldur's Gate 3, then please come along and join in with Lord Kensal, the appropriately named Lord Kensal, who should be playing Baldur's Gate 3 sometime over the weekend. Talking of turn-based games, hot off the press, courtesy of Internet Games, yeah, stop the press earlier. And I was trying to see if it was on the Reddit, but if you go over to Steam, Midnight Suns, which is a turn-based game, and by all accounts, a really well-reviewed, critically reviewed game, Marvel Midnight Suns has currently has got a free trial. You can play for free, and it ends in 2 days. Add to library. Hit the button. There we are. I've added it to my library. So, yeah, shout out Internet Games there. Midnight Suns is free to play over the next 2 days. So if you've been curious about the game, as I said, it's got some rave reviews. It's a turn-based game, but it's kind of really well received. Then now, over the next 2 days, presumably Friday and Saturday, don't know, it's free to play. So that's Midnight Suns over on Steam. Claim it now. Free to play the next couple of days. Might be worth checking out. So I was getting notifications there. When you stream the games, I expect you to get up early, put on a uniform, drive around the block. Yeah, you got a cosplay. If you are, oh look, that was such a long thing, it doesn't quite fit in there, does it? Oh, I can't have that. We can't have that. It needs to fit in. It needs to fit in. No really long messages. That's the tip. Right, there we go. Yes, you can cosplay it. I expect to wear a little train driver's hat when you stream it. Yeah. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe that. Look, how much is it? I will cosplay. What was it called? Railway Sim. Sim Rail. How much is it? Is it the... Yeah, 20... Wow, it's 30 quid. Perhaps not then. I was going to buy it. And then I'd cosplay it. Hey, Jag 09091, looking good. Thank you. Jay Smith, in the house. Good to see you all. Remember to hit the likes, everybody, because I like it. YouTube likes it. And it helps people like you find content like this. Ayo! Geek to Sneak is in the house. Good to see. Now, the other news for... Where's my... That's it. Further expansion. Oh, there we go. Further expansion there. So, a couple of weeks ago, we had London that I highlighted a couple of weeks ago. And I am currently on here, which is EU West. If I get it right. EU West, I think. I think Frankfurt is EU Central. I don't know what Amsterdam is. Anyway, Amsterdam is currently being upgraded with the upgraded to the SuperPods, the RTX 4080 SuperPods. And of course, it never dawned on me over here. There we go. Ashburn. Don't know where Ashburn is. But on the East Coast. It's weird. They had the West Coast covered, and they sort of had the center of the US covered, but not the East Coast. Well, East Coasters, cry no more. Ashburn is coming online with the RTX 4080 SuperPod. So I guess if you're down the East Coast and you've been relying on the West Coast or the Dallas servers, hopefully it's going to be even better. Yeah, hopefully you're going to get an even better experience thanks to the RTX 4080 SuperPods coming online. That's good to see. Just check that. Yeah, it's interesting because we see... I was mentioning about Monster Hunter Rise. You know, obviously it's a big Capcom game. And as I also mentioned, it's available on Games Pass in January. They launched the end of January. It came to Games Pass as well. So it's interesting to see whether it's just Capcom focusing on this particular game, what with the Sunbreak DLC coming out with it, or Sunbreak, or this could mean we might see more Capcom games opted in for GeForce Now. And if that is the case, what Capcom games would you like to see? What Capcom games do we have? Do we have the Resident Evils? I've not really checked. I should see if my... Just checking here. I'm going to move that over there. And then what I'm going to do some magic here. And then we'll see. Let's display capture. Change that, not to that, because that will go take you into the matrix. Take that out. Right. Oh, look. Apex Legends Revelry, new update. Oh, yeah, talking... Okay, so I'm being slowly dragged back into the world of downloads now and then, right? Because obviously I've gone on about how like I'm enjoying playing Call of Duty Warzone. I've enjoyed playing Halo natively, not in the cloud. I enjoyed playing it natively. So I settled down to a game of Call of Duty yesterday, and all the old nightmares of downloading and not playing in the cloud came and hit me in the face. Double whammy, right? Because the massive update, obviously for Season 2 of Call of Duty, massive update required. You know, it's going to take hours. Oh, well, I'll play Halo. Update required. It's in the queue. And of course, while that's all happening, I can't then, because I don't have massive broadband width, I can't then go on and stream something on GeForce Now. So like my gaming last evening was kiboshed. I told you, I'm having IT issues all week. Right. Anyway, so I was going to, yeah, Capcom games. Nothing to see here if I type in Resident. You can't see it behind the block. I put in Resident. So no Resident Evils. That would be interesting. And, of course, Street Fighter. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of Street Fighter. But let me know, ladies and gentlemen, what Capcom games you would like to see. It's not just all about the Resident Evil games, is it? Or Street Fighter. Wanted Dead. Let's just have a look. See how much this is. It's look, it's a full price game. They're not mucking about, are they? So, you know, it's sort of AAA? Double A and a half? Definitely that price. Definitely. Yeah, what was this here? I drive buses for a living, so I'm well used to shifts. Wouldn't there be a busman's holiday? See what I did there? Literally, not figuratively, literally a busman's holiday. If you took a holiday as a bus driver and played SimRail, it would be a busman's holiday, literally. The rail simulator is a lot more realistic and you need a microphone to talk with dispatch, etc. That'd be great. Don't let your management know you're moonlighting, Colm. You'll have your conditions downgraded. Yeah, it does feel weird when it's just that it was both. It was the two games that I'm enjoying right now, and I just felt in the mood for it. It was like a double whammy. It was like one punch. Oh, what? Because it's a massive. It's Call of Duty Warzone. They don't muck about with their updates. Oh my lord. And then yeah, Halo. So I just gave up and watched YouTube. Sulked. I've been playing another game which I can't talk about because it's in testing mode. But I'm looking forward to that coming to GeForce Now. And of course, and I had to download that onto my PC. And we all know how I don't like downloading games onto my PC. But I didn't really have a choice because of the platform I picked. Should have gone for Xbox, didn't I? But I picked it because with GeForce Now in mind in the future. I'd always change it. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, rare. Just checking out this. There's more than just driving the train, though. Overwhelmingly positive. Release last month. Become train dispatcher, control the traffic. So do you do everything in the game? So is this early access or is this the full version? I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like it's the full version. Scenery fixes. Prologue. You can get a prologue of 2021 version. How is the full version planned to differ from the early access version? Ooh, steam locomotives. Controller support. I'm in. Although, have you ever tried playing Flight Simulator with your controller? Not quite the same. Shunting operations. Winter weather effects. And adding more playable signal boxes. Yeah, it's hardcore rail. It's for hardcore rail sim people, this one. You could stream that all day, couldn't you? There was a whole thing in the TV industry about roughly about 10 years ago. It's called, and it started in Norway, or Scandinavia anyway. Not a Scandi drama, yeah, not a dark Scandi drama, but something called slow TV, where I think they just put a camera. I think originally they put it on the end of either a train or a tug going around fields, and that's it. And I remember the BBC did a couple on BBC Four. One was a canal, so there's no dialogue, no voiceover. Basically, just literally a camera stuck on a barge as you slowly, literally, because you're on the canal, go, from Devizes to Bath or whatever, and it might take 6 hours, and it's broadcast. It's very relaxing. You can imagine that sort of thing. You sort of get it now. I guess you get those sort of things on YouTube now. It's like watching a fireplace or something like that. But I reckon if you streamed that railway simulator, SimRail, I bet you'd get a few viewers. Do you know what I mean? There's something quite therapeutic and relaxing about it. Geriatrics love slow TV. It helped me stimulate my parents' minds as they grow older. Well, that's nice. It's because it's very relaxing, It's very relaxing. You hear, especially on the canal one, you could, hear that sort of bird singing and noise and the lapping of the water. And, of course, the canal boat, narrow boat, just slowly, gently moving down. And there was a 24-hour one somewhere, like on a train. It all started in Norway or Denmark, or I think Norway actually, but some Scandinavian country, yeah, and it became briefly very popular. So there we are. You could do that. You could set that up, set your stream to stream some. Are you driving a train? Why not? Yeah, trains and shower scenes. This is ratings gold, Kirk. Exactly. What more? I'm reaching out here. I'm satisfying all peccadillos. Yeah? How about a shower in a train? I mean, not too much, Clive. Too much already, Clive. Exactly. Yeah, anime characters in a shower and slow train. It's like we've gone to Japan. It's like we're a lonely Japanese old man. Trains and anime characters having a shower. Surely that's the definition of a lonely Japanese man. It's a word for it, isn't it? Those people who just live by their own, don't leave their house. It's a massive mental health issue in Japan at the moment. Men like that who don't leave their... Because they're probably playing SimRail. I tried the council last month. What, you like your local council, Jag? That is always a graphic adventure. I tried see some of the people in my council office. Oh my God. Some right trolls in there. I tried the council last month. It's easy one. Best graphic adventure games I've played. Okay. Recommended here, Jag. The council. Is it on Steam? Oh, it's from Focus Interactive. Interesting. A narrative adventure. I do. I quite like... there were a few on... there were a few that launched. A few sort of... Are they like point-and-click narrative adventures? Because there were a few... a few on Stadia, and everybody was going, oh my God, why do we want these mobile type games? But actually they were really good. One of them was from a company that just make kind of point and click narrative games in genres. So like detective games, adventure games, romance games. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. What were those two games that, oh gosh, they were really good. In fact, I seem to remember Chicken Police was a bit like that. Chicken Police was such a good game. I really enjoyed Chicken Police. It was so well put together. Sean L is in the house. Become a shunt in is an ambition. This one's pretty unique. It does. It looks like graphically, it looks pretty good as well. It looks like they've got some money on it. But it's Focus Entertainment. That comes with a certain pedigree. A fresh approach. Dark, brooding, and infinitely interesting. It's sort of set in a kind of restoration period. It's sort of Napoleonic revolutionary France or something. Or history. Oh,